What's up, folks? Today I bring you a game that teaches you in the art of death. This is The Persistence, the flat non-VR version, but anyone who already owns the PS4 version, this will be a free update. The Persistence is a first-person roguelike horror game that is dedicated to having you learn how to play the hard way. Sometimes it is death, but other times it's the horror. If you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? If you would prefer an audio-only version, the link is below. I received a code from the devs, so I did not pay the $30 price tag, but should you? Well, I'm about to tell you. My name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money, a different kind of review. The name The Persistence refers to the ship you're stranded on. The ship malfunctioned and got caught inside the pool of a black hole. Alongside that disaster waiting to happen, the ship has two clone printers, and one of them corrupted during the incident, causing for some gruesome mutants to now roam the halls of the ship. The other clone printer is where the ship's engineer and, so to say, last living ally, Serene, brought you back to life as a clone of Zimri. Zimri has the duty of listening to Serene as she guides her to your objectives in each of the 4 decks of the Persistence, so she may escape imminent death. Along your journey, you'll come across the bodies and artifacts of other crew members, and though you don't get to meet them, Serene tells you about them. And I gotta say, it was fascinating to hear Serene talk about them. Even if it was just about a small interaction she had with them, it still showed some depth into the crew. On top of that, Serene and Zimri will talk to each other about their lives before boarding the Persistence and what they plan on doing after they survive this whole mess. This next thing isn't anything to keep in mind while playing, but it's worth mentioning that this game has a couple different endings. How you play does not dictate which ending you will get. Now, with that said, this is overall a well-rounded story that I enjoyed thoroughly. I never felt like they left me in the dust to boost gameplay or even hurry the player to the end of the game. I got all the details I wanted and needed. For example, this game isn't roguelike for any reason. There was a feature on the ship to change the interior structure, and since the incident, it malfunctioned, thus we get roguelike. I don't know about you guys, but when devs integrate mechanics like that into the story, I fall for it. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I enjoyed this campaign so much. Now, with me mentioning roguelike, let's head to the gameplay. The Persistence is a first-person horror survival game that challenges the player to learn each of its labyrinths within the ship. This game will prove to be tough, and that's because it wants you to die. And I say that because the devs told me that in the pause menu. So if dying a lot isn't your thing, then this isn't your game. Let's get to the basics. Your safe area is the recovery bay. It's called this because once you die, you come back here and start whatever section you are on all over. In the recovery bay, you can upgrade your character's attributes such as health, dark matter, stealth, and melee damage. You upgrade those with stem cells found on your journey or by extracting them from enemies with your stem cell harvester. You also upgrade your suit here. Doing that will cost you fab chips. Now, with upgrading the suit, choose wisely. There are 6 suits you can choose from, each having different perks, such as if you want more loot, you're going to pick the loot suit. Along with the suit, you upgrade your force field, harvester, super sense, and teleport. To upgrade those, you'll need schematics found around the map or on enemies you kill, so keep a keen eye on which ones you have so you're using the best equipment to get the job done. With me mentioning suit perks, this is also a thing with the clones. Every crew member you find, you extract their DNA, allowing you to make a clone of them for you to play as. Each of them have their own perks as well, and every clone other than your own will cost you stem cells. But honestly, stem cells are easy to obtain, so I wouldn't fret about it. It's fab chips that get scarce, and that's because other than equipment upgrades, you have to use the fab chips to fabricate weapons. The better you upgrade your weapons with Earbus tokens, the more fab chips they cost. Now, I know this is a lot of upgrading, but it is 110% needed. Without better upgrades, it's going to be almost impossible for you to get through the game comfortably. You won't get supply caches due to short teleport distance, or your weapons don't do enough damage or have enough ammo. And on top of that, enemies will kill you within 2 hits. So trust me and just upgrade everything. As for combat, I mentioned a thing called the stem cell harvester. That will act as your main weapon. Once you die, all your weapons will be lost except for that and all your currency you have on you. With the harvester, there are 2 ways to kill enemies. Use your force field when an enemy attacks. That will stun them, and then you can bash them in the face with your harvester. Depending on how well your melee is upgraded, it might take a long time to take down an enemy. The other option you have is you can sneak behind them and harvest their stem cells. Most enemies die after 1 harvest, but tougher enemies will take 2 to 3 harvests. How you do that is up to your playstyle. Now, you are going to come across some enemies that just can't be harvested, and for those you're going to need weapons. Luckily, they gave us a good variety of tools to use with multiple firearms such as a revolver or a Valkyrie, a pistol-like railway rifle. Same goes for melee and grenades. Multiple choices, but the experimental weapons are the best. Some of my favorites were the grav hook, allowing you to pick up objects and enemies and ragdoll them around the room, and my top number 1 being the Reaper, or aka the Chainsaw Teleport. Grab this baby and you can teleport attack enemies with a circular chainsaw blade and kill almost everything one hit, just not the Bloodhound. Now with all these weapons you think you'd be unstoppable, but you aren't. That's why stealth is key in this game. Once your weapons run out of ammo, you have to fabricate more. So what do? Use all your ammo for fun or preserve it until you need it? Either way, in between that choice, you will crouch in the dark and utilize ventilation systems so you won't get spotted. You also have teleport you can use to traverse covers. Utilize every tool and play it smart. Unfortunately, there is no running in this game. It's a slow walk that will often bear a burden on you. I guess it's the devs' way of forcing you to sneak and use teleport, but it's still a burden when you're caught in a room with tons of enemies and your black matter isn't recharged yet, so you can't teleport away. Lastly, your map is your best friend. This will show you interest points on the current deck and where the different fabricators are. You want to know where they are. Every fabricator is specified to the weapon type. All in all, this gameplay was fun, though a lot of the hours in the game, mine being 9 to 11, are due to dying, conquering the map's change upon death, and grinding to get currency to upgrade your character so you become a force to be reckoned with. Never once did I find it boring. In fact, changing up the layout made the gameplay feel fresh, as I could explore new areas with new enemies and loot. The action of the game was bloody, brutal, and fun. Sure, sneaking up harvesting cells doesn't look like fun, but being in game and doing it while worrying about alerting other enemies is an adrenaline rush, and that's the kind of horror I love, and they succeeded. Horror-wise, this game isn't jump scare scary. It's very atmospheric with areas that are completely pitch black, making you rely on your super sense that lets you see in the dark and the enemies in the room for a period of time. You will hear things run around you and make weird noises, ceiling tiles fall, mutants will scream right behind you and greet you with a nice hit to the face. Mutants do look scary, no doubt, so let's head to the design. Creepy atmosphere? Check. Creepy sound effects? Check. Sci-fi theme? Check. Visually, this game is startling. Creatures will vary from looking semi-normal with missing hair, dehydrated skin, just an overall psycho look, to pistol-toting mutants with half a head. And to top it off, we get weeping enemies who cry in corners and shoot you with electric beams through a caved-in chest. The enemy variety gives this game a boost. If it were dull with the same enemies and attacks, then the game wouldn't have that challenging aspect. This extends out to the lighting as well. The light works impressive, from pitch black areas to lights flickering. They even took the time to change colors of doors from green to yellow to show that you've already explored a certain area. But with visuals in mind, this is one part of design that I had a flaw. You spend a lot of time sneaking in this game, so you're crouched and up close to a wall or just some form of structure. And you will often see that some pieces of the walls aren't placed correctly so you can see out into space. Other than that small flaw, the visuals are great and something you're just going to take in while you're sliding around the map. For the sci-fi aspect, this game really stays up to par. Everything from weapons, suit abilities, and even the story is ripped out of a dark science fiction piece of work. As for sound, it will get you, no doubt in my mind will you be walking down a corridor, hear some bone-chilling noise, and then you're going to freeze for a second. Voice acting, that was superb. You can tell the emotions in every line that is spoke, and being stuck on a ship full of creatures next to a black hole, that would spark tons of emotions. And luckily we get to feel how the characters do. So here's some clips of the overall design.
Joe's hat. Do you know Wilson well? I might have been his only friend. He always preferred listening to his old-time music than hanging around people. Joe. Oh, Joe. kept to himself. Except when he was obsessing over charge cycles.
Was that what you'd argue about over breakfast?
Overall, The Persistence is a smart horror game with many mechanics that could have easily overstayed its welcome, but it doesn't. By the end of it, I wanted to experience more. This game sells for $30, and for me, it's worth $25. $25 is a great price for this game, and I do see it on sale a lot. Quite often, it's less than $25, but at $25, it is a done deal. It was a thrilling game that kept me on my toes from the beginning to the end. It could use some polishing and some work on the movement, but other than that, I enjoyed every second of it. That's all I got, folks. If you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. Till next time, fellas.